taxpayers are allowing this to happen, okay?
Yeah.
We, the township, must, no choice, and I don't know why they would continue after this fiasco that we currently have to get out of building bridges. Okay? And it's only gonna happen if the taxpayers tell them that. I mentioned it at the meeting, and I was asked by Lori Sue, why? Because we pay for it, okay? This mess with this bridge is costing us too much money. There's no reason for these guys, and there's no reason for the supervisors to have the headache of building bridges. We gotta put a stop to it right away.
Yeah.
Okay?
I called a couple attorneys that I know, and I said, what do we do in this township? We're in dire straits here with these people. Elect better candidates, is what 2 individual phone calls told me.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
so that's been the premise of this group. We have to get better candidates.
okay, I'll touch on that subject.
Yeah,
Right now, we have a crucial issue, okay?
yeah, I know.
I know this for a fact, okay? Lori Sue called Chad Hayden,
Oh, I know. Yeah,
asked Chad if he would run,
right.
okay? Chad said no. Chad called Ed. Ed said absolutely. There are enough Haydens to remove Steve, just Haydens that live in the township, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, Steve, but you're going, okay? Unless we somehow ask for some resignations of a couple of supervisors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm 49 years old, I've lived in the township for 20 years, I'm not even gonna go vote. Because it's pointless. Steve is gonna be done, and then we're back to yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Oh, yeah, he's a yes guy.
I have nothing against Ed, I like him, but the way that it happened is wrong.
They're both pissed off. Her and Mark are both simply pissed off because Steve tells the truth. And they don't like that. They don't feel that you have the right to know anything. They run the township, not you. They do.
No, but that's wrong. We,
I know it is.
as taxpayers, run the township,
Yes.
not one single or several, 3 supervisors.
Carrie, can I respond? The purpose, there are actually 2 purposes, in my opinion, and I'm only one person. When Steve and I discussed starting this committee, there are a couple of things that are very important. One, in my opinion, we need to re-elect Steve Masco. I'm not giving up on that. I think he can win. He's campaigning. I'm going to give everybody in here in a few minutes some options that they can do to help. But I think it is vital, absolutely vital, this is just my opinion,
Right, understood.
for our township, for him to be reelected.
I'm with you there, but.
But I don't think it's that difficult. I think there are people around, I really do, I've been around, go to the store, go to Tops, go to CVS. I mean, I'm not a shopper of the year. But I would say this, I'm hearing that people are getting tired of this, tired of it.
All right, but do they know that Mr. Hayden
I
is,
understand that. Look, I understand that.
and how
I'm
we,
I'm an optimist most of the time. And I firmly believe that Steve, with hard work from himself and us, can win and will win. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate, listen, I appreciate your opinion.
The reality is.
Well, okay.
Well,
The
don't
second
fret.
thing, and the
That's
second,
what she wants you to do back there.
I understand.
That one right back there wants you to quit. What you said was music to her ears.
I understand.
Don't give her
And see,
that.
I need a little bit of that.
Well, we're gonna give you a little bit of it. We're gonna give you, because we're all optimists and we're all hard workers.
Yeah. So you go out and vote.
Rich?
I want to say
Tell
one
other
thing.
people to vote.
It is your constitutional right, and it's your right as an American citizen and a citizen of Bradford Township to vote. Don't say you're not gonna vote. Take your right to vote. I'm 63 years old. I've voted every election since I was 18 years old. I've never did away with voting.
It's not just your right, it's your responsibility.
But it's just so frustrating.
It is.
It
It's
is.
frustrating, but Carrie, we can't give up. We
I
cannot
will.
give up.
I know,
I'll
that was
retract that
frustration, I know.
Well, no, don't retract your opinion. That's your opinion. This isn't the
Bring a
town.
couple people with you if you have to, I mean.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against that Hayden, but
I don't either.
he's a nice guy.
But
He's a
I
yes
have
man.
nothing against Lori Sue either, okay?
All right, but what
He's a yes
I
man
am
for her.
saying, what I'm saying is through our, using our talents, our God-given talents, with the issues out there that we've all talked about these many months, we're gonna win. We are going to win, I'll predict right now.
But by you saying you're not gonna vote, you're giving Hayden.
I know,
You-
I understand.
That's what you're doing.
I understand.
He's gonna vote.
Can we
I
go
know.
back
It's
to the bridge
frustration.
thing though?
Yeah, go
Would
ahead.
everybody in the room agree that it's time for Bradford Township to quit building bridges?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
No.
There's enough other work to do, we don't have time for it.
We don't have the ability to. And it's a headache on his, it's a headache on her. Why wouldn't you just say, okay, we contract it out? Nobody of a township, I mean, I work with them every day. A township of this magnitude goes and builds their own bridges. None, zero.
I have a question for
And you
Steve.
have to- Just one other thing, you have to remember, it's not really Larry Sue, it was Mark Klein and Jim Irwin who signed these contracts. Just so, you
Right,
know.
but we need, at the next meeting, just like I said a week ago, let's tell them, no more bridges. No more bridges, please.
Steve, was there as much bickering and fighting with the supervisors before all this bridge crap started?
It's been ongoing ever since Don Cummings left and Gail Bauer. When the two of them were there, we were open to everything. Everybody knew exactly what was going on. There was no backdoor deals, nothing against the sunshine law. Everybody sat down and talked about everything. And the meetings were fun. You know, you talk to people, you let them talk, you let them go ahead.
And that's how it should
Listen.
be.
And I know on Monday night's meeting, just for example, you know, I had my wife ask the stuff out about the ditches and stuff. Mark Klein says, we're gonna be here all night, well, you're a supervisor. I said,
Yeah, and
if I have
that
to-
stuff's
If I have to be
us.
there all night, I'll be there all night. If people don't understand or know what the questions are, I'll be there all night. That's what we're there for, as far as those meetings, you know, people wanna know what's going on.
Okay, so the problem isn't just the bridges,
No.
is what,
No, it's-
But it's a major problem,
Right.
correct, Steve?
yes, it is.
Okay.
And
As
Carrie-
far as between the three of you.
And Carrie is right, I've been preaching this all along. Our guys that are in the road crew and that, think about it, road crew, that's what they're supposed to do, maintain roads, pipes, ditches and stuff. That's what we're supposed to be doing, we're not
Bingo.
bridge builders, you know? If you're not a carpenter building houses, you shouldn't be building one, you know? I mean, the cost is
Right, that'd be
gonna be
like-
tremendous and it's gonna take a long time to do, but we need to fix these roads. We've been working on bridges for a while with our guys for quite a while. And that's why the roads are in the condition they are, because we're not maintaining, we're spending all summers working on bridges. And we cannot continue to do that. I mean, it's all right if you want to do one bridge, but you can't go year after year and after year doing bridges with our guys when you're letting everything else go in the township. You cannot continue to do that. That's,
But I disagree, no bridges. I mean, even the little culvert over High Street and almost at the intersection of High Street and Minor Run, that was done 12 years ago, you know, let somebody that does that and has the equipment do it. I mean, I haven't
Absolutely.
counted how many bridges or
I agree
culverts
with you.
have been done, but the township has to get out of the bridge.
That's right.
construction.
Wade, you want to say something?
Yeah, that's fine, we can get out of doing bridges from the township standpoint. But then you have to go to an outside firm, and a project that large, you have to submit bids to have it done. And we have to be very careful about who we get to do that, and the decisions that are made by the supervisors, not saying one way or the other, but it appears what I hear from people that are able to attend the township meeting, and from what I read in the Bradford Era, that what I would say is a above-board method of choosing whoever's to get the job hasn't been done fairly from what we're seeing and hearing. Now, is that the truth of this kind of like bickering, if you want to call it that, that goes on at the township supervisors meeting over that bridge and the choosing of somebody to do that? The way that I am understanding it now, it was done not necessarily to the agreement of all three supervisors, but one of the supervisors apparently was left out of the,
Yeah, we know.
and from hearing from what I hear from other township people, particularly the taxpayers, is the fact that we are not sure that we're getting the best deal. So what is the truth? We better find out sooner or later, because it's going to, as far as I can see, possibly in a legal battle, and then the cost is really going to go up.
Tax increases where you're coming.
Well, if what we're hearing and what the paper's been putting out, and I'm hearing from what other people that have been able to attend the meetings, that the expenditures that we've already, the township, has put into this project without getting it done in the way it looks. Some of it might have to be undone if it hasn't already been. That's going to add another cost. I've been in the township for over 70 years. And I lived within probably 200 feet of that bridge most of my life when I moved to Bradford.
Wade, maybe you were here, I don't know. Steve made a presentation about their second or third meeting about the construction of the bridge, the plans to put it in, and the whole process. Did you get a copy of that?
I don't know whether I did or not. If I did, I don't remember it.
Okay, I'll make sure, you hang around after the meeting and I'll find one for you in my file. All right?
Good.
And direct the questions to Steve, but, I mean, he did a wonderful job with the presentation of where the issues were in this thing. And, you know, no, it wasn't done right.
Does somebody here know what money's been invested and we still don't have the bridge so far?
Well, Susan put out a sheet, it was 818,000, but wait, she didn't put any labor costs in there. No labor,
19.
So far, we don't have anything?
far. Add another 150 to that, at least, with the overtime and all the guys out there working.
Is there any possibility someone could give me and anybody else that would like to know what the final cost is going to be in that
I
bridge?
don't think we know at this point, because you don't have the labor
We don't know if
costs.
it's gonna open.
They can't even give a schedule. They can't even publish a
How
schedule.
much did it cost to do the Browntown Bridge? And who did that?
We did. And that was 400 and some thousand. I know.
And how long did it take?
I don't think that one was that long. I think they had that done.
But I understand from the people that I've talked to, or have talked to me, that this bridge at Custer City is much harder than the one at Browntown. Should it have been?
Yeah, that's a good question, I don't know.
If they hadn't taken out all the stone that was holding the wall, it wouldn't cost as much.
Go ahead.
Steve, did you hear that question? The Wade asked,
Yeah, well, there was a problem with the Browntown Bridge too. It was still, Dave was there at the time, that bridge was still at 10 ton. It did need to be replaced right at that time. The East Warren Road Bridge should have been done first. But not only that, but when they bid the beams out for that bridge, they were both 15 approved. That's how the bid went out. And what they did, and without my knowledge, Mark and Jim both sent a letter to US Bridge and told them that we're not going to accept your bid because we're going to take it out of the general fund, and when we do that, we don't have to do that. So what they did, they went with Swanson. Well, to come back, that I talked to Randy Albert from the state, and he sent him a letter, and he said, hey, I don't care where you take the money from or what you do, you bid it out a certain way, and if you don't accept the bid, then you should rescind the bid and rebid it again. Or you could be sued by not only the public, but you could be sued by the contractors around, because that wasn't right. Quote 15 was a certain way to do the beams and stuff, so they went and did that bridge, but out there, they kept the same, concrete and stuff, they didn't tear all that out, so they just put the beams across there. But that was wrong there, to not give it to the person that actually bid it out right, and what they did. And I actually got a hold of US Bridge.
Goes on and on.
After I found out from US Bridge what had happened, and I'd actually called him and talked to the owner and stuff, and told him how sorry I was about what was going on, and he said, people don't do that. And I said, well, it wasn't right that you didn't get the job, you should have. And that's how the township should run. We shouldn't be putting a black mark on our name here, not doing things, the right way. And so that's how that went. But on the East Warren Road Bridge, it was back in October before they started this, and no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was in October, and I said to Jim and Mark and that, I said, how come we're not getting our local engineering prices from them on this bridge? I said, we should be getting them, that they live here, they spending money here, they raise their kids here. Why aren't we getting our local guys? So I was able to get Wallace and E&M and Jim Hannon out of Salamanca, and every one of them come out separately and looked at the bridge, okay? Not one of them said that the stone had to come out of there, and even on the High Street side where it was eroding underneath, they said we could fix that and put concrete under there. Nothing's moved, we could set it back under that. Well, anyways, when it come November, I went into the meeting, and on the minutes of the meeting there, who's on there but Owen Beachy, all ready to give it to him. And I said, well, gee, so Wallace was there, and he talked, and he said he could have done it for 75, but he'd call me the next day, because he said, I just tried to get it together real quick. He said, I could have come in at 50,000, I would have. But we had, what was it, Jason Snyder, who had been the engineer of record, came in at 49,000. Owen Beachy, you know what he got for that? For just engineering, $100,000. And they gave it to him. Over Jason Snyder was at 49. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're in his room and board, aren't we?
is there $1,000?
Did we get any itemized things from the building of this bridge?
You can try and get it from.
You know what I mean? Is there anything written down anywhere and what the cost
Is there a budget for this bridge?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Can
think
I come up, please, and explain something to these folks? 'Cause they
Yeah,
don't-
go ahead, Terry.
Okay, so, obviously, my name's Kerry Roslinski. I own Pipe Eye Sewer Services in Bradford. I've had Pipe Eye for 20 years, okay? So what I want to explain to you folks is how a typical contract works, okay? So let's say I was bidding the type of work that I do, but let's put it in perspective of a bridge, okay? So you have your township engineer, he prepares the specifications for the bid, okay? He gets paid X amount of dollars. The contractor pays the engineer for the specifications. And it's a booklet about this thick, okay? And he follows that to the T, okay? There's no real interaction through the supervisors whatsoever, except to approve a payment for the work, okay? Nothing. So they don't worry, the supervisors worry about nothing, okay? So let's just say it was, for the sake of argument, it was $100,000, okay? Here's the specs. We paid the engineer $5,000 to draw the specs up. He gets the money from Pipe Eye or from a bridge builder for writing his specs up. And then the contractor has to follow that to a T. The supervisors don't even get involved in it. And the only time they would be to approve a pay app. So it's less headache on them, okay? It's contracted out. If they don't follow it to a T, then they're in hot water. Okay? Do we understand that? So why are we not doing these bridges in that form, in fashion? Instead of all of this discussion, and we're worried about it, the supervisors are worried about it, it should be plain and simple. It should be a booklet like this, get it done. Once in a while, there could be a change order, okay? But it has to be justified by that engineer responsible for the job. And then it's also up to the supervisors to say, okay, yeah, that's doable, or no. And the supervisors have nothing to worry about. We're taking the long way around the road in figure eights as far as building these bridges, and there's no reason.
You stated that it goes to the engineer and he draws up the specifications for it, and then they, in turn, the supervisors, who you seem to want to jump over, they send them out to get bids on the engineer's specifications. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We're not jumping over the supervisors because they've looked at the specs.
Well, I didn't say that. You said that they were
I'm
out of it
saying
after
they
it goes
don't
to
have
the
to worry
engineer.
about
You
it.
said that. I didn't say that.
I'm saying the supervisors don't have anything to worry about.
They don't have anything to worry about, but they're the ones that accept the bids, and the process of accepting them bids,
Right, but you take the lowest bidder.
did they?
No,
Does it
that's
sound
not how
like,
they
from
did this.
these guys are giving me information, and that guy back there is giving me information that sounds like they didn't take the lowest one.
It didn't happen that way, that's what I'm trying to explain.
How do you know?
I know, Steve,
Ask Steve back there, that's
I
exactly
know,
what he said.
that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Is that the way they took those?
Yeah,
Not the way that I
no,
explained.
not the way he said, but yeah, no, the way I.
That's
You hear him?
right, the right way.
He's saying the typical way they would do it.
Oh, yes, I agree with that.
They're
Right, that's what I'm
reinventing the
saying.
wheel by going a different route. There's already something in place to do it, which sounds
They didn't follow
organized
that.
and simple.
Right, they didn't follow.
You already have the
Typical
tone, you gotta go now.
Yeah, you said the typical, but it seems to me,
On that.
when I'm hearing on the outside, and from this guy, that guy back there, and people that have attended the meeting, that isn't the process that was followed.
It wasn't. And
Okay,
what
thank
I'm
you.
trying
That's all I wanted to know.
I'm trying to explain to you the typical.
I work in a
process.
large industry, and between probably 1,000 and 1,500 people work for them, and I know a little bit about contracts.
Right, and that's what they should have done.
That's precisely the
Thank you.
problem. That's one of the problems,
Thank you.
Wade, is they didn't follow that.
I
That's
just
all I
wanted
wanted to know.
Larry's right.
I appreciate your,
Were there grants available, or did they get grants, or what? Because why wouldn't we use all
So-
our funds? I mean, is there an advantage to using our treasury?
Typically, what would happen, okay, the engineer,
Where's all the
Yes.
COVID money that we're supposed to be getting?
They paid for a loader
the
with it.
engineer would
They paid for a
take
loader
look
with it.
on his computer through the state of Pennsylvania
God bless you.
or EPA, DEP, and he would say, okay, there's possibility for a grant here, there's a possibility here, there's a possibility there. He gets paid now, mind you, and he applies for all those grants, and the supervisors just pray that he gets that, okay? Case in point, you see the Bradford Water Authority ding all over. We've got, the Bradford Water Authority got several $1 million in grant money to do that. They matched some of the funds, but they didn't match the whole price.
That was over the pipe deal. That's
Right,
correct.
thus, that's why they're digging. So, you know, the Bradford Township needs to establish a relationship with a good quality engineer. And the supervisors need to just say, all right, that's the engineer, this is what we want, okay? If I was a supervisor, that's what I would say. Okay, this is what we want, we're intending in 2 years to do this bridge, start searching for any monies that are available. Yes, he gets paid for it, I'm sorry, but he does. Okay, and then as a supervisor, I can sit back and relax and sign the pay request. And if there's something I disagree with, I say no. And other than that, there's no worries for the supervisors. But instead, they'd rather fight about it and do it on their own.
And really, are they I mean, some of them are qualified.
Some of who?
Well, some of the supervisors are qualified.
Oh,
But some of them, they don't. They're not.
well, the employees are not qualified to be
Right.
building bridges. Okay, and then I want to add one more point. So if there's a problem, that engineering firm, case in point, I won't mention it precisely, but you'll figure it out. Hit a sewer line. Well, in town, we're replacing water lines, okay? There's an inspector on the job, okay? He's responsible for babysitting the contractor, the general contractor, okay? When there's a problem, he takes note of it, okay? If he screws something up, it's on his side. It's not on Bradford Township's side at all. Not at all.
I have one more question. Steve, do you have any idea if that bridge will be done this year or even next year?
I don't know if it'll be done or not, I just,
I didn't.
I got, let me state,
Made a very good point.
That's what we want, Terry.
well, let me state one thing though on this bridge project here. If everything was kosher and everything was running the way it was supposed to, our attorney out of Warren didn't even want to take it. He said refer this to somebody else, so they hired Knox Law Firm out of Erie to fight this whole situation. So if everything was running the way it was supposed to be and we were doing the right thing for the residents of the township, we wouldn't be hiring any attorneys to do anything as far as this bridge. It would be going smoothly and it would be done. And then we have, we have lawyer fees and to me, it's still, I don't think it's so. It's not.
Right.
So,
And remember, folks, I told you about the inspector, that the engineering firm is required to provide, okay? He's responsible. He might not be there every single hour of every day, but he's responsible. So if something gets gummed up, it goes back on that engineering firm, okay? Right now, on what's going on out there, there's not an inspector in sight. There's not even there's nothing. It's like playing with a yo-yo.
Do you have any idea why there's not an inspector?
Because they didn't bid it out. And township employees.
In the case of an inspector, you're
The
saying they have
engineer
a
should have
bond.
included that.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, let me explain that too. Okay, they're bonded, okay?
Yes.
So, let's just, I'll use $100,000 again, okay? They typically have to provide a 10% bond. They can complete the project, okay? And there is still 5% retainage from a contract required in the state of Pennsylvania until the engineer, the township, they can all take their time. And then once everybody's all happy, you get your 5% left on that job. So there's money involved, there's incentive to do a good job.
I have another question then. How much responsibility goes back to the engineer as far as in a way, he represents the township residents.
That's
Because
correct.
he
And
should be
supervisor.
keeping those supervisors
Right.
in line.
And
I don't
thus-
know how else to explain.
And thus
Express
the
it.
reason for his inspector. You know, he might just be a young kid, but he reports back to the engineer, and then every now and then, that engineer will provide an update to a township or a municipality. This is where we're at on
You
this
get a better
project.
picture now.
And there's
So-
nothing to worry about.
Is it,
For you, maybe, and for the
For the
township supervisors, that there's
Or
something
the
to worry
township
about.
residents,
Pardon?
or the residents.
How do you get that? Are you a taxpayer of the township?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. When I get my tax bill, I'm gonna send it to you when they get the
I'm
new
trying
rates
to help.
for our taxes. Before we leave, give me your address and name, please.
22%.
I'm still trying to figure out what was the advantage of not applying for grants, and if we didn't. Was there a reason for it?
They didn't hire an engineer, to search for the grant money.
If you get state grant money, you have to go by state regulations, and PennDOT will be in there checking the bridge, just like Elm Street.
Well, that's what you need.
That's
That's
wrong with-
exactly right.
Steve, what's wrong with that?
What's that?
What's wrong with that?
What, have a state inspect, no,
Yeah.
no,
What do you want?
it has to be done this.
What I am saying, he's asking a good question. We need grants. I can't believe with all of this money coming from Washington for the roads and the bridges, that there isn't grant money available for this. I have a problem with that.
Well, I was at Marty County's office and talked to them in there, and they said there's all kinds of money out there, you just, what you really need to do.
But you gotta hire somebody,
You have to hire
a grant writer,
That's
okay?
what they do, period.
So we got two
You gotta
things.
hire a grant writer.
We got an engineer that can do that, or possibly, if Bradford Township sweet talks OECD,
Yeah,
there's a
that's, Bradford City has
slight
the
chance
people
that they could help us.
That's how they get all the money.
Okay, but you have, the supervisors don't know how to write a grant.
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
also, listen, in fairness, it's an art to write
Right.
grants. The average person can't do that. Steve, I'd ask you, is it worthwhile to hire somebody to get that grant?
I feel it is.
Yeah, I do too.
Look at the Elm Street Bridge there, they paid little or nothing for that whole bridge.
Yeah, there's a prime example.
No, they paid little or nothing, I can't remember now, but the figure was slim to none of what they paid on that bridge after they got all the grant money and stuff for that bridge.
It's not, we're not at the end of the bridge problem.
Did
anyways.
anybody
No.
write, Steve? I know. Steve, did anybody write a grant for that bridge and were turned down?
No.
Nobody
No.
wrote,
Nobody
wrote a
even
grant.
bothered to apply.
Okay.
But what the thing is, look at it this way, if you hired, say, an engineer to build a building for you now, okay? And this engineer, he gets all his plans together now, and which are construction plans, but they're preliminary plans for review and comment, okay? And all of a sudden, he doesn't know it, he's turned this stuff in so they could get a cost on everything. In the meantime, they give it to another guy, and that guy has none of that stuff, but they gave all the preliminary plans to him as an engineer to do this bridge on. They're using somebody else's plans that they haven't paid for, done anything, but he's using them, he doesn't have any stamped drawings of anything, this Owen Beachy for this bridge. But he's using the preliminary plans from another engineer, which that engineer had been the engineer of record. Not only that, but Owen Beachy had subcontract to him. Jason had hired him to some contract so he would take a little bit of the load off of him, not to do the, not to be the engineer of the bridge, but to help him out with it. And all of a sudden, the tables turned, and this guy's working with Jason's,
I hate to tell you folks though, as far as even discussing it, it's a moot point. We're SOL, but from this point forward, no more of the shenanigans of the township building bridges. We're stuck with what we have. We can blame Owen, we can blame Kerry, we can blame anybody, okay? We're stuck with it. But it better never happen again. And we have to raise our voices and say that.
Well, one way, Kerry, that we raise our voices to say that is to re-elect Steve as the supervisor. It's only a matter of numbers. If you don't do that, and you'll have a 3-0 vote, and we aren't gonna count for anything, folks. Let's put all the cards on the table. So it's extremely important that this happens.
Yeah, it's a very critical point.
Now,
Process.
I don't know if anybody else has some, I have some suggestions, and Terry, you wanna take down after the meeting helpers and what they wanna do?
Sure.
All right. Here are some possible ways that you can help Steve if you want. Canvass the households that he can't get to, or telephone prospective voters, or write letters to the editor and for the Era, or respond to Facebook comments, negative. I don't do Facebook, but somebody that watches that, you see a negative comment, respond to that, respond to the radio, and maybe help Steve and Terry put up signs. Now, those are just a few. I'm not saying I've got the answer. What I'm saying is we collectively have to be involved. And it's that simple. We can't turn around after the primary and say, oh, I wish I'd done this.
I
Yeah.
can take 10 or 12 signs and find some.
Well, again, talk to Terry and Steve after the meeting and what you can do. I hope everybody's involved. Does anybody else have anything they want to say tonight?
I have one question.
Yes, Ron.
Is there a plan to do what she did if Steve loses the primary and flip parties and run on the Democratic Party?
I don't know. I don't know what Steve's plan is.
You have to have the Democrats to vote him in.
If there's nobody on the ticket, you don't. There's nobody on the ticket, you don't.
It doesn't make any difference, they can write him in as a,
Right.
you have to do that.
That's right.
He has to have the votes of the Democrat in order to run.
Okay.
I'm just saying, that's.
Okay, that answers part of my question.
See, I'm a Democrat, so I hope nobody lynches me. But I'm a Democrat.
Oh, if you drink Bud Light,
What?
you drink Bud Light.
Anyway, I'm a Democrat, but I intend to write Steve in. That's what I'm doing. That's all that we get there.
I have a question. Is there somebody that you know that is running on the Democratic ticket?
No,
Person, okay,
but that's still,
I didn't think so.
we need to take, well, that's up to Steve.
But you gotta spell the name correctly and everything, because they won't count it if you.
Yes.
Well, it's got to.
But in a general election, you
No,
don't
it's
have to
gotta
be a
be-
Democrat to vote
Ten.
Democrat.
Primary, you have to.
In the primary, you do, but in general election in November, you
No,
don't
you
have
won't,
to.
Joe, but if he made it on the Democrat ticket, you just check it. But see, you gotta make sure when you write it.
We need to find out how many votes he needs.
Well, fortunately, Masco is not a hard name to spell, so, it's not like.
MAS.
Oh. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
Do you know how many votes he need on the I know it's more than one.
On the Democrats?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
Steve,
have
how
to,
many do you
you
need?
have to be able, anybody else running, if they get Democratic votes, you've gotta have at least one more than they
That's
do.
right.
Right.
So if they have, if there's 5 votes, and what's his name gets 6, he's out. He runs both Democrat and Republican.
That's right. That's scary. Anything else, guys? Thank you very much. Please talk to Steve and/or Terry back there. If you can help out some way, it would be greatly appreciated.
I hope I wasn't too overburdened.
You were a pain in the neck.
But I want everybody to understand.
That's why you have the machine you use to flush everything down the line.
Down the drain.
And there's nothing about them having a debate either, correct?
It doesn't look like it.
He won't debate.
No, he doesn't want to debate. He thinks that.
He's got his debater sitting here by the door, so don't worry about it.
I'm,
Thank you very much,
thank
folks.
you.
Hey, how